those of you who have been here before, you already know what the drill is. But for those of you who are new and never been to one of these sessions, today we're going to have the top five session. The top five session is basically the second session that we usually have in the series. The first one is we have a workshop about the data set, and the second one is the top five announcement webinar. The whole idea about this session is that we're going to be going through the top five reports and we're going to be giving our feedback on them. What we like, what we think could have been done different, what we think, it's a very big pain point and this should have been addressed in the next one and so forth. We're just going to basically talk about these reports. The main idea why we wanted to have this sort of approach to this is so those of you who, like Chidera mentioned, right? For those of you who think I'm not good enough or something, none of the reports that people create are perfect. Even the reports that me and Federico create, they still have a lot of things that we could improve upon, right? So these sessions are just to kind of give you an insight of what the thought process is most of the times on the other side, even as a customer, right? What we try to do, what we try to interact with, how do we look at the charts and everything like that. So you can kind of get an overall idea of how everything works together, right? That is the main idea. You hopefully nobody gets offended by it, right? By the feedback and everything, but guys, remember, right? This is what's going to happen in real world as well. As soon as you're going to publish something publicly, there's going to be opinions. As a Power BI developer, one thing that you can definitely need is a thick skin, because there's always going to be the ones who like your reports, and there's going to be people who think, this is done completely incorrectly. You just do your thing. That is the main thing.
Guys, that is so a reality, not only here, but at work. If you're working with a team, and the other day was told my report was too square,
Yeah.
okay, by someone, and I say, oh, okay, everybody was happy, but this person was different, it's too square. So, it's still a square. I took the criticism, and I don't talk to her anymore, whoever she is. But yeah, that happens every day, guys. So don't be annoyed by that. It's just an opinion, and everybody like different things. So just enjoy and get the good tips.
Yeah. I think it's just you get a lot more if you just listen to the feedback, right? Instead of trying kind of getting into a defensive position where you're trying to explain yourself why you did this and that, but you just listen to the feedback and be like, okay, that's a valid point. I can take that into consideration and I can do something about it on the next report, right?
That's it.
Just
Yeah.
keep improving and create better reports. That's the main idea about all of these sessions and everything. But yeah, going through the top five, giving you feedback on them, and of course, the main point is going to be announcing who's going to be the winner of the challenge for the ZoomCharts mini challenge. What else? We also do have from time to time, you're going to notice these QR codes popping up on your screens. Those are going to be for the gallery, different additional materials that you can find, and so forth. And I'm pretty sure we also had the feedback form QR, right? And if that pops out, please make sure you fill it up, right? It just has a couple of questions, but let me just explain to you why it's so important to us. If we're not getting any feedback on whether you like these sessions or not, right? At some point, it starts to become, or it kind of creates a feeling that we're doing probably something wrong because nobody even cares enough to tell us what they think about it. And that's one thing. And the other thing is, if you feel that something is missing from these sessions or you think we could try something else, tell us about it. We're reading all those feedbacks, we're going through them, we're thinking, okay, what else could we do to make this a little bit more interesting? Okay, can we cover this? Maybe it has to be a different session and so forth. So the more feedback you give to us, guys, the better the chance that something you are looking for might be implemented in one of these. Right? Even ideas about different data sets for challenges and things like that. Just throw your ideas in. All right, but enough about
Let's go.
that part. I think it's time to go for the reports and start to go through the top five, right?
Yep.
All right, let's
Absolutely.
share the screen. Make sure I'm sharing the right one. There we go. All right, so the first report that has gotten itself into the top five comes from Crystal Andrea. So, congratulations, Crystal. Now, let's open up the report and go through it. Now, Federico, you want to take the first?
Yeah, she is my
Yeah.
ambassador to why. I'm gonna go for the view. You see the two cars on the right with the grass on the bottom? Is that a chart?
Hmm.
It looks grass. It looks like you're in a football pitch and you're on the floor and you see the grass on the football pitch. That doesn't give me any information, Crystal. There is no information. I cannot gather any information from there. Okay, maybe a monthly chart would have done better, or a weekly. I don't know something that. But that chart, if you make it longer, we call it the earthquake or the heart attack chart because it's all like that. Okay, everything else is very well presented. The color palette is lovely, simple. I tried to break it, and I haven't tried hard, but I have not been able to break it.
Which is a good sign.
Yes, indeed. And the on the left, the top card with the filters, quite simple and nice. Something that I like and I realize other people is not doing it. You hover over the icon on the left, the navigation.
Yep, the little
You
tooltip.
see, they're telling you where to go. I found a couple of reports that they don't. They just tell you click here, follow to click here, or click to follow here.
Hmm.
That give me information. I know that I'm going to the overview and injury landscape. Okay, and the same with the other. Sorry, with the other icon. Now I realize that you know this one. Yes, yes, I know I'm right. You look at the number 1 to 3 at the bottom. That's the navigation pane because you have not hide the pages. Okay, so now you in Power BI service you have the report and you have a navigation there and your icon. You have a double navigation here. Okay, so what you normally do, Crystal, is you hide the pages and now you can only move using your icons. Okay, or don't use the icons and move through the navigation on the left in Power BI service. Okay, there are little tricks. Let's go to the second page with the clock.
Yep.
A little bit of the same here, Crystal, with the earthquake. Okay, that doesn't give me information. It doesn't matter where I put something, it's also compressed. Okay, it looked nice. I remember doing it when I started, but it doesn't give me any information. The line chart, that is okay. Everything else is okay. Go to the third page.
Hmm.
It's a table with the filter. We have all the filter, all season, gender, all. So I need to use. Where do I use the filters in here?
You press on the filters. It's actually very neatly done.
Okay, you have to let me know. Okay, you have to let me know because Aivis has been playing with it before and found out. But if I am user, I, I don't know what I have to. I don't know what I have to do with that. But really good now that I can see it. But now I cannot see. Well, you apply the filters and then you get out the filters. Okay, if I go here, what filter did I apply? Recovery with limitation. Okay, and how do I clean the filters? I have to go here.
You can
Okay, yeah,
reset bottom
you can
left.
reset in there. Yes. Okay, let me try that one.
That was one of the things that I noticed when I was playing. Like you mentioned,
Yeah.
the icon itself were guiding me towards the filters. Because from a user perspective, think about it like this: yeah, you're I'm going through two first initial pages, and you're telling me that this symbol means clear filters. Now suddenly, if I go to the third page, this actually means that there is actually more filters underneath it. So it should have been the same style, but it should have been a different icon. Right? The main reason for that is because those are two different actions that I'm doing. On the first two pages, I'm always clearing the filters with that icon. Now I'm setting the filters through this icon. So
Mhm.
changing that would definitely be very welcome addition. That the dynamic title is something that I really like, but at the same time, once I got to this, I noticed that the dynamic title, guys, I like dynamic titles because currently it's one of the things that a lot of customers are asking for as well. So basically, like a current view of what I'm looking at as well. Because as much as Power BI can create very dynamic sort of reports where you can cross filter and everything, if you just send them a screenshot from the report, right, they don't know what you have done. So something like this allows them to understand what has been pre-filtered. But the feeling that I had for it is because this was here, I was like, but why not have it in all the pages? Because for the
Yeah.
rest of them now I have to figure out what I'm looking at, right? So that's one of the things. And the last thing that for Crystal, like I totally agree what Federico said with this. I like granularity, but this is a bit too much. It's just too granular and you're not getting any insights on it. So I would have stayed on a monthly level, probably where a quarterly level, something like that. Worst case scenario, stay on a yearly level, but daily level is just too dense. You're not even able to really see the differences in the timeline. And the one thing that I know I personally deducted a couple of points is because of the coloring, and I'll explain why. The male and female coloring is good, it allows me to understand the difference between them. But since you're using exactly the same colors here, it gives me the impression that basically what you're telling to me, based on the visual story, is that females get a lot more injuries. Whereas in reality, that is not the case. I'm guessing this is using conditional formatting, but since you're not also using any thresholds or anything to reference the conditional point, I don't know why some of them are orange and some of them are green. So the only other connection I can create is to the gender, right? So this is one of the things that I would probably rework. I do understand that you wanted to stick with the color palette, but this is the tricky part with colors. As soon as you implement some meaningful color coding, you have to stick with it. Otherwise, it's going to
I,
cause confusion.
yeah, this is the perfect example when you
Um,
make males and female a different color. So
Yeah.
you keep with your brand colors, but then you tell male are blue and females are yellow. For example, I don't want to be the blue pinky thing, but you made distinction in there that they are male and these are female, and the rest of the brand of the color palette is orange and green. It's a perfect example for.
hmm Because other than that, I think it's a great report. I think it's
Oh,
easy
I
to
love
use
it.
and
Yeah.
navigate. So definitely very well made. Jitter, maybe some comments from you?
I think you've said most of them. I feel she should play around with her
Mm,
paddings a little bit. And the line chart that is it line chart
Mm-hmm.
or the bar chart too, I would suggest that maybe she does something like a month over month, maybe show this by month. I think that would give a little bit insight. And I also noticed that the plus sign towards the left navigation is supposed to mean something,
Yeah.
right? Because if you hover it, it's like, oh, this is the purpose of the dashboard. But ideally, you think that this is just a design, right? It doesn't really prompt the user that, oh, you have to click here for me to see the purpose of the dashboard. So I think maybe she could include that in her info section, or just maybe use a more prominent icons to be able to get the user
Yes, I
attention.
think an
Is
info
what I'm supposed to say.
info icon will have been better. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Um, aside that, I don't know. Can you move
Yeah,
to the
sure.
time report, the time page? Yeah. Okay. So for the bar charts, I also noticed that it's kind of, I don't know, it's not sorted, which is it's not a problem, but it's just that I have to go all the way down to be able to find the what's it called?
Yeah, the biggest. It's going from the
Yeah, I have
smaller
to
to the bigger.
yeah, I have to go all the way. Yes, I have to go all the way down to find the top injuries within the players. And I also noticed that if you just, let's say, you click on the professional filter and then maybe training, this KPI card, it kind of gives there's a situation where, okay, maybe click on
Hmm.
the bar chart too. Yeah, it kind of gives like
Too
multiple,
much, yeah.
yeah, something like this, right? Yeah, so I don't know, maybe she could do it in such a way where it just creates a list so you can see the list of treatment methods, and then other things, and maybe remove duplicates from it. Maybe that's how her task could work. That's also something that
That
she
problem,
could take into
Chidera, that
consideration.
problem also happened when we have a card with a number and the font is too big
Hmm.
and it's in thousand. When it changed
Yes.
to, I don't know, other, and it become too big. And you don't realize
Mhm.
until people tell you to always try different fonts and what happened with the size of the font, and always play with the filter to see what happened. Because in math, in more than one occasion, I had that problem with numbers that they're big and suddenly become bigger. And the three dots telling me that you cannot see it properly. There is no space. So remember that and check it out every time. Checking, checking, and checking.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons also why it is one of the good practices to, whenever you're formatting numbers, for example, never leave the auto decimals. Because auto decimals are very tricky. They can work 99% of the time, but there might be that 1% of the time when suddenly you have like nine decimal numbers and the number just goes completely berserk. And that's one of the reasons why you kind of format it in a particular way. Uh, but yeah,
Well,
I think
excellent.
it's a very good work. Amazing. So congratulations on getting to the top five, and I think we can move on to the next one.
Yes.
Sounds
Yep.
good. All
Yes,
right. The
please.
next one that has gotten
Yeah.
itself into the top five comes from uh, Padernader. Congratulations. Let's open up the report and take a closer look at it. So for this one, Chidra, maybe you want to go first.
Okay. So I would say this is a very good report. I love how it is structured, and yeah, it has a flow. And very good use of colors as well. Okay, so let's start with the KPIs. So the first thing I would say is he could have included commas to the total injuries just for future purposes, right? In case this report is something that is updated over time, you can be able to see the
Hmm.
breakdown. The second one is the average recovery days, right? You're not going to have 48.71 days, so you have to approximate that. So maybe 49. Yes, that's cool. So it's like 49 days average. 49 days. I would also say that maybe reduce the what's it called, the icons a little bit, so it doesn't kind of like distract you from the values, right? Because I can actually see the icons clearly. So it's the numbers, it's the values that you want to see more than the icons. Now going towards the filter section, I think I noticed that the reset button. Okay, at first I thought that that button, because of where it is placed, I thought that that button is just meant to clear all filters. Then I also noticed that there's another filter icon again, and which does the work. I don't think the reset button is working from my own end when I checked the report. I don't think it's working. So you do not want to include an element that is of no use, right? So you have to make sure that everything is working properly.
In my report, the reset
Um,
button in my report taking me to a different page.
oh
That is
Yeah,
yes, yes.
from
I
a
think that
different
is
page.
for the
Yeah.
second page. Yeah, yes, yes.
okay. That is
Okay. And okay. Okay, and then the other thing I noticed is the injury distribution, the switch between the injury type and the body type. That kind of got me a little bit confused because ideally, switch statement, especially when the active state is usually indicated with a very prominent color, right? So if I'm clicking injury type, it just kind of tells me that, okay, I'm on injury type and what I'm viewing is injury type. But then it's kind of like the opposite, and then that confuses me on which is which, kind of.
Yes.
So that's something that he has to work on. I mean, you have to be able to put your users in mind in this scenario, right? Don't just do it because, oh, the color is great, the color is great, and I just want to experiment things. But ideally, in the real world setting, this is how we know it to be. So just kind of have to follow that pattern. Um, the bar chart, since there aren't enough space, what you can do is probably expand the chart a little bit so you can actually see the labels, or you can use a vertical bar chart for this to be able to see things a little bit more clear. And same goes with the subtitle. You can kind of shrink the subtitle a little bit so that it's not, especially if you're managing space, you just want to be able to maybe reduce. I don't know if there's any point reducing the font size, but maybe you can reduce the wordings. Yeah. Um. Yeah, and and also I felt like it would have been important if he included a user guide to kind of like guide users on what we're seeing and where to click. I think that's something to. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Chidera. I'm not gonna. I think he said quite a lot. With regard to the buttons, guys, we go for light color, and when it's pressed, it's the darker colors. So I know, okay, because that's the first thing I noticed. What Chidera said. In my view, I am in injury type, but I am not in
Yeah.
injury type. I am in body part. Okay, so remember, we start light. Okay, you got your color palette in Power BI, light, the next, and the strongest color is when you have selected. We have 15,000. We need a comma after that 15, man. We are missing that comma there. Because if you go to page 3,
Yep. Eh, Clicking
coming,
too much.
you got a comma there and then two decimals. I know it's different. One is euros and the other one, but you are giving me mixed value, mixed different. You're confusing me a little bit. Okay? I know that it's euros and the other is the number of injuries. Okay, but we go to the first page again,
Yeah.
if I'm not wrong. You got 20.770 million here, 4871, then a whole number, but you don't follow path in the third page. You should have follow path, and you have a 1983, 1788, and that 1,000, that's 1 million. Where did you put 1,080,000? Is that 1 million? No. Is any filtering here?
No, this is just the average treatment
At
cost, whereas
average,
this
sorry,
is the
that's 1,000.
total. Yeah. But I
Yes,
think
an average.
whenever
Yeah.
you do some sort of a switch between the pages, there should always be an element that kind of connects them. So in this case,
Mhm.
the total treatment cost should have been also here as one of the first cards to kind of connect that this is being split down by this.
Go to page
Yeah.
2. That columns of top left bar chart or column chart. That is a column chart.
Yeah.
They are too big, man. You can make a little bit thinner. Yes, they are too like. Yeah, I eating a lot today. Okay, a little bit thinner. Yeah, like that. Something like that. You can make it then thinner and you see then a lot better. It look better. It's just actually aesthetic more than anything else. The conditional formatting on the table. We need a third color or four. You see the second color, the 295. You see the second color, 295, second line 4, ankle sprain, 295. Go
Yeah.
down. That second color should be clearer. And the other one, even lighter. Not clearer, lighter.
Hmm.
Okay? There is more distinction between the colors. That would have been fantastic. And I realized, guys, I'm not kidding. I got my friend Said Gamal here with me. If you don't follow this guy, you're making the mistake of your life. So go and check it out quickly before it goes. Apart from that, congratulations. We had the same mistake that Andrea. You have a navigation bar at the top, and you have the other navigation bar on the left in Power BI service. Okay, hide the pages. Leave one page open, the main one, and the other pages you hide it. And now you only use one navigation page. That's for me.
Yeah. Probably the only thing that I would have done, like Victor already also mentioned this in the comments, that this should have been a bar chart, not a column chart. I agree. The alternative would be still you can use column chart, but use a field parameter to switch between the values. Because they are so small, you're kind of very squeezing too much information into a very small block and trying to explain it, that it just becomes and looks very messy, right? If think just think about it, right? If this would be just one single chart, it would have enough room to showcase the labels, to have enough room to breathe, basically. So sometimes less is more. And there's a reason why there's this saying. But yeah, overall, I think it's a very
Yeah.
well structured
The-
report. Couple of nuances, and
Yeah.
regarding the how to define what sort of effect do you need for highlighted or selected values, the greatest example is take any Power BI visual, and by default the value that you select is going to be prominent and everything else is going to be dimmed. So it's a similar concept, right? The one that I'm currently on is highlighted, whereas the other one is still visible but it's in the background, basically. For the page navigation, looks good. I like that you increase it to kind of give it a feeling that it's a button. But remember, guys, always play around with your values. It's a very small oversight, but these things matter. Yeah, Federico, go ahead.
Yes, go to the second page because actually what Victor Rivas mentioned is a rule, actually. Okay. If you are doing sequential category, January, February, March, you do it in a column chart. If that is not sequential, you normally, by default, okay, you play a horizontal bars or bars chart. So remember that rules. It's written in a few books. Okay, so if you are doing tying or things like that, you can put it on horizontal. If you are doing any other type of category that is not sequential,
Hmm.
okay, you can do the and do the bar column better. It's a rule, guys. Remember, it's a rule. If we can follow, we follow.
Yeah. Also, if you don't know all those
Yeah.
rules, it just about the charts itself. Remember, there's things called chart guides, chart cheat sheets. There's different names for them, right? But just learn about the chart type itself, what it's meant to be used for. You can use any visual for anything. I get it, sure, but there are things that they're supposed to be used for, right? So it's just something that would give you a good also base understanding of, okay, if I have this sort of information, I have three different chart types that I could potentially use. Option A, I play around with it, doesn't work. Option B, play around with it, this works a little bit better. Option three, doesn't work, so stick with B. That sort of approach. But yeah, overall, I think it's a very good report. It's very well made. Just few bits and pieces that might have been improved and would just have a lot better sort of overall experience with the report. Other than that, very well made report. Good job, and congratulations in getting into the top five.
Yes.
All right, let's move on to the next one. So, the next report that has gotten itself into the top five comes from Okay Dono Efasa. Okay, congratulations. Let's open up the report and take a closer look at it.
Our friend, okay.
Yeah, right. So, first of all, right, as a gamer, as soon as I see this, I just have a slogan in my head.
Yeah.
But yeah, what I like about this report, let me
Yeah.
actually go to the first page. So, what I liked about this report is whenever you go through the pages, and this is what OK actually does a lot at the times, he kind of tries to keep the whole overall layout of the report the same. The fact that it's lagging is not OK's problem, it's just my PC. So you can see overall, it always stays the same. At the same time, somebody might say, yeah, but that might cause a situation where people don't really know if they switch between the pages or something like that. There's always two sides of a coin, right? There's going to be people who love it. There's going to be people who think pages should be different. But I think in this case, it actually kind of works very well. Um, the cross chart filtering is there. It works very well. There's additional information buttons. Like, you don't have to overcrowd it. I think this works very well, and it explains the main features or the main elements of the report. So that's very well made. The charts, like I said, cross filter. So if I select anything, all the information gets cross filtered. If, of course, there we go. Slowly but surely, we're getting there. But you can see everything gets cross filtered, right? So that's all good. If we go to the second page, you can again see the same principle is getting followed through. You can switch between the different granularities. And this is one of the reasons why, for example, we have it as a feature within the visual to kind of allow you to switch between these different granularities. Month is an option, but looking at monthly data, I think we can all agree it just looks very messy. There's too much information. This is why, as a report developer, you have to choose the entry point, right? How granular does the data have to be when you enter the report? The user still has the power to go down or go up. It's up to them to choose that, but you define how it looks when they initially open it up. So it's one very important part that you kind of have to cover there. What else? So yeah, for this page, I think was okay. For the third one, I liked this here. The reason for it is because I kind of liked what insight it gave to me. That 80% of all the treatments were basically ended as an end result in a full recovery. Then we have those who have some limitations, and then we have those who unfortunately had to retire due to the injury, right? So it gives you a very good insight of what's the overall situation. And of course, everything is dynamic. So if I choose one particular group or something, that cross filters the information. So that's all good. The one thing that I noticed when I was reviewing it, but I have to check my notes where it was. There was something that I really wanted to mention. Uh, but yeah, seasons, years, that's all good. The one thing that I probably would have not done is this part right here. I swear to God, I tried to click on it like 10 times.
Yeah. I am clicking on it. I am clicking on it. Not working.
Same, same.
Because, when you first look at it, it feels like, oh, it's very clean, the top. And then suddenly, this is
Yes,
probably like a
clickable.
slicer or a chiclet slicer or something, right? So I started, and it's
Yeah.
like, it
Yeah,
is nothing.
nothing.
But that's a very quick thing. You
Um,
open up the report and just delete it. And that's it. You don't think about it, you delete it. But yeah, it's just a very small little thing that, from an end user perspective, I would say this is something that might cause not really anxiety, but just a little bit of anger in the
confusion.
user. Yeah.
Yeah,
So remember, don't put elements if they don't really have a value to it. If it doesn't provide anything beneficial, there's no need for it. And this report, actually, since I already was in one of the pages, you didn't see it, but this report has a homepage. Now, you've heard me and Federico say this hundreds of times, right? We're not big fans of homepages, but I think in this type of execution, it actually kind of works. Because you're explaining, for example, how different charts work. You're explaining the main icons that are going to be throughout the report, what they're going to be doing, and you're giving just a very quick insight. So I think in this case, it's okay. But if you just create a cover page and just give me the navigation, I think it's not really necessary most of the times. And again,
You know
this
what
one,
happened
get rid of it.
with home pages? That
Yeah, tell
sometimes
me.
they look better than the report because it's very easy to find a very good looking picture or image and put it there. And they look fantastic. And then you go to the report and you go, oh, okay, because the home page is better, okay, than the rest of the report. So be careful with that. If you have 2 or 3 pages, you don't need an intro page. You have 20 pages because you're gonna need a navigation bar.
Yeah,
You use a home page. Otherwise, it's just wasting a page. Something that I find at work every day because people got used to create the home pages for 2 pages. Why think about this, guys. User experience. I go here and straight away, I'm not looking at nothing. I'm going to click to export the report because I want to see the report. I have spent in that page 3 seconds. What is the point?
And don't
If you are
forget that
adding
whenever you're
an
gonna go
extra
to a
step,
different page and come back, you have to wait for it to load, to
to
showcase
load,
everything, and then go back and forth again.
yes. Can
Yeah.
you go for a second to the second page? It's one little thing that is
Yeah,
annoying
absolutely.
me. Second page. Can you see on the right bottom chart? Can you see the select trim and filter? Yeah, it's too
This
close
one.
to the title. Yeah, it's too
Mm,
close to the
Yeah.
impact. I don't know why, because you have another visual quite similar, and in that occasion, it is farther up. Okay, so it go and you have room in there to actually bring it up. You see here, where is it? It takes some time to load. No,
might have been
now
the
you
first one.
go one there. Well, doesn't matter. It's too close to the title. That was the point I wanted. Just that little thing that annoyed me in a good way, because I noticed. Okay, and you have the room to bring a couple of pixels up, 3 or 4 or 5 pixels up. Pa, 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 pa.
Yep,
Okay, perfect. That apart from that, I really love the report. It's okay. You cannot complain too much with okay. It's another of our advanced students. Um,
Yeah.
excellent report. It's just a little thing that to tweak. And remember, as Aivis many times say, there are little things, but people notice. Okay, people see those. Okay, let's move. We are late.
absolutely. Oh yeah,
Alexandra is hurrying up.
Alexander's saying what's enough is enough.
Yeah, yeah, go.
Okay, I just wanted to add a
Yeah,
little
go
bit
ahead.
of, yeah.
Yeah,
So I noticed that like the decimals, they're kind of inconsistent. So we have two decimals, we have one decimal. So I think it's very, if you're
Hmm.
going to use two decimals, then it should be consistent throughout the report. Same goes to the bar chart as well. And you can also indicate, okay, for the value, that's the treatment cost. You can also indicate what currency it is so that the users can get an idea of the currency that you're working with. Aside that, I think everything is great.
that is really good advice. Chidera, actually you noticed. Did
Yeah.
you get that? Okay.
Note down. If not, yeah, guys, don't forget that this is all also recorded. So if you have to run off or if you miss any of the webinars, they're always going to be recorded and there's going to be recording available for you afterwards. All right, let's jump on to the next one. So the next report that has gotten itself into the top five comes from. I'm so sorry if I accidentally butcher your name.
Patient Kiam.
Yeah, but Patient Kwan, congratulations. Let's open up the report and take a closer look at it. Um, yeah, Federico, you want to go first for this one?
Oh yeah, just click on the red dot on the right hand side line bar in the
Why
car.
do you have
Any
to
of them
do it
there.
like this?
Oh, it broke. Believe you me, I haven't played with it before, but I knew that if I click that, everything is broke. There, there. Guys, remember the interaction, yes, between the visual in your report. You need to play with them to see what happened when I do this, what happened when I do this, and I of late find quite interesting, not interesting, dangerous that because so much interactivity that we can create with a Power BI report, also we create a travel of interaction. That if I put this and I click here, break this one, if I stop for them to interacting, at the end nothing interact, so there is no dynamic.
Mhm.
Okay, so it's try to find a balance on that. So remember, we need to share that one. I like the color palette. I like this green and red color. I don't know. I think it's an excellent combination. I think that color before on many report, not on Power BI, but the places we go to look for inspiration.
Yeah.
Let's go to recovery overview. Most probably we are going to have the same problem there, but then you have some KPIs at the bottom that they look really nice and clean. That is okay. Simple. Let me see if I. No, I love how it works. Everything else is working very well. Go to trim and cost.
Yep.
100%. We can break down the top. Apart from that, I know there are people that like the how do you the dispersion, yeah, the bubble chart. How do you call that one there? Yeah,
This one's a scatter.
that one.
Yeah, scatter plot.
Uh, I'm sorry, guys. Thank you. It doesn't do anything for me. Not even invite me for a coffee or anything. I don't know what to say about that. And I know people like it and people use it. And the only person I think doing it right properly sometimes, two people is Aivis, that is a couple of samples, and Gustav Dudek,
Yeah.
and that he make a couple of different things with it. Otherwise, for me, it's just dot in a wall. Okay. Sorry, that I don't put it in a report. Never ever have put that on a report. And I do quite a lot of report, believe you me. Apart from that, excellent report. I like the color palette. Just a couple of things to do better. And I haven't seen this person before, maybe yes, but I think he's going through the learning process and doing very well. Congratulations to be on the top 5.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, few things from my side is regarding the color. I think the color itself is good, but you have to be very cautious because on the chart itself, red means the highest point. Then afterwards, red means it's going down. Then afterwards, red means it's professional. Red means it's male. So the color needs to have one meaning, right? If you're focusing on the changes and if you're taking or reserving it to positive and negative changes, then just stick to that part. I get, like I said, I understand when people try to follow the color palette, but this might cause confusion down the road. Because if I have a legend for this one, and if I very quickly go at this chart, I'm going to be like, oh, this is professional, this is amateur, right? But then I read the titles and it's like, it's actually female and male, so it's a completely different thing. So be very careful when you're using the same color in multiple places. I love what you've done with the value labels here. You've essentially assigned them to a secondary axis and then just stuck them to basically the max value. I like this approach because it allows you to have a different view rather than just what a lot of people did is they essentially used the percentage values as a secondary series, and you had a column which of course is almost invisible, right? But then it takes a lot of vertical spacing. In this case, you're kind of taking the best of the both and you're putting it in a way that it's readable. That's one thing. One thing that you always have to be very cautious about is cross chart interactions. And this is one of the things that happens in this one as well. If I select something on this chart, you can see, okay, things get cross filtered. But if I select something here, I think it was this one, things were getting, come on, you can do it. I know you don't want to work with me today, but I'm still going to ask you to do it. There you go. You can see that this, for example, highlights. So now what you end up doing is you essentially create a mix of different interactions, highlight plus filter, and they not always communicate properly together. So it's better to stick to one of them. Like Federico mentioned, create an overlay for this or put it in the back, figure it out, but do not allow the user to interact with it because otherwise everything else becomes obsolete. You leave all the rest of the charts with just a single dot, which is not what you want to do. And then the one thing that caught me off guard is you created very nice buttons, but for some reason, you decided that the reset is only the icon, but not the text, which caught me very off guard. I thought that it's not here, but it's actually on the icon, but not the text. I would have used
Yes.
the same approach. Or even if you don't have the highlight view, right? Never leave text next to a button which is not active. It's going to cause a lot of confusion from the end user, and they're going to come back to you and say, hey, it doesn't work, even though a millimeter to the left it would have worked, right? So yeah, that's one thing. The same goes for filters. And the one thing from a visual standpoint, spacing, it's jumping all over the place. Especially if you go through all the 3 pages. Like, look here, you have this much space. Let's go to the next page. It's moving further. Let's go next. It actually moves even further. So I'm guessing the more pages you have, the further down the road it goes, right? So
It was more tight. It
yeah,
was
I get it. This is
kind of
this is when
working
you had full focus. This is when I'm starting to lose
no focus.
focus. But yeah, you can see it
Yeah.
here as well, right? For example, not align things and so forth. I get it. It's not the worst thing in the world, but what I already mentioned, right? These little small things, they do matter a lot because this is what gives the user the first impression. And even if the charts are great, it tells the story and everything. The fact that some things are not aligned may trigger some people so much that they just cannot look at the chart or the report whatsoever. So you have to be cautious about this. And the last thing from my side would be, if you're doing something with the labels, make sure it's consistent. We have labels right here within the column, or in this case, within the bar. Suddenly, this one is formatted differently. Use the same principle all across the visuals. Other than that, it's an amazing report by itself. Few just bits and pieces, again, that will make this report even better. Chidera, from
Yeah.
your side.
Oh, okay. So I feel like you guys have said everything. Just my own 2 cents. The icon close to the navigation isn't
Hmm.
clickable, so I don't think there's any purpose for that. It's not a website where like it's kind of opening and closing, so I don't think there's any point having that there. I mean, the text
Yeah.
alone it does a good job. And the second thing I'm going to point out is the okay. Let's talk about the chat title.
Hmm.
So it isn't exactly clear because it looks like these are just raw field metrics. So the one thing that he could do is to probably have a subtitle that says, let's say, injury facts and severe rate by injury type, and then you can now put drill down by the causes. I think that way it kind of gives the user that okay, this chart can be drilled down. And the second thing I'm going to touch on is the colors with the green, the red color with the green in the bar chart, right?
Hmm.
So one thing that he could do is to kind of make, since this is a darker shade of green, you could make the red a little bit more on the light shade, so it's visible, or maybe you could make it white. I don't know. Anyhow that works. That works. That just makes it the green and the red kind of a little bit overwhelming to the eyes. And yeah, he could actually just give the chat title a little bit of padding, so it's not so close to the borders. And yeah, same thing goes for the um, inclusion of commas in your numbers. Yeah. Aside that, I think that's it from my end.
All right.
That's it. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So
Uh,
the last report. Yeah, go ahead.
go. No, no,
Go, go.
yes. Alexandra, can you put on view Victor Riva, the latest post? Yes. And the point of this is that it is true. The readers need some data literacy, though. So remember who are your end users? I'm business intelligent. I'm not a scientist. I don't need to see outlier cluster on correlation most of the day. So that chat doesn't say much to me. But the same happened to my users.
Yeah.
Okay, so remember, it's about thinking about the audience. Do they know how to interpret this? Or it might be better to work a different chart or two different charts to actually show out what it is. In this case, it can be a correlation by, um, I don't know, whether where you're training or something like that, and then you want to find the correlation, and therefore the chart is appropriate. In my case, I might need some data literacy, Victor. Go for you to that, but it doesn't do anything for me. But it was quite interesting his comment.
No, no, it's a valid point. Data literacy, it's basically not just data literacy. It's know your actual end users, right? Because at the end of the day, the report might look amazing, but if they look at it and be like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to read from this, the dashboard is a mistake, right? Something is wrong with it. And this works with a lot of things, right? The same could be said, but let's say there's a visual called box and whiskers, right? If I show it to somebody who doesn't understand what the percentiles mean and everything, for them it's like, it looks interesting. Have no idea what I'm supposed to tell from it, but it looks kind of cool. So yeah, yeah. The last report that has gotten into the top five comes from Namdi Nwako. So congratulations. Let's open up the report and take a closer look at it. Chidera, you want to go first for this one?
Sure, sure.
He's being polite. He wanted
um,
to go for it. No, would you like
yeah.
go for it?
Okay, so I would say this is a very interesting one. Um, I would say the first thing that caught my attention is the red background. I think at first it kind of looked a little bit overwhelming to my eyes before I kind of like adjusted in a few minutes. So I don't know the purpose of the 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 design. I really do not know, but I mean the main thing is the insights that we're trying to look at. So okay, where do I start from? Okay, let's start from let's say the title of the dashboard of the report, right? So that you could have a little bit of padding to it, so it's not it's somehow away from the navigation side. Um, this goes with the buttons as well. So you're using a red background. You shouldn't be pairing two, let's say, dominant colors together. Maybe the icons could be, I don't know, just a lighter shade, just so it's not looking like that. I think he did a different thing for the other buttons, right? When you navigate to the other buttons. But for the home page, this is how it is. Okay, so this goes with the icons as well, right? Maybe you could do like a white icon so it's visible to the users.
Hmm.
And same goes with the filter names. You just make that white. The gray is a little bit too on the less constructing side. Okay. So okay. So for the line chart, I really love the indication, right? So you're trying to tell us that the higher the injuries is a bad thing. But what I would say is that he could have just made it. He could have just made it in full 2021 to 2023 because I don't know, for some weird reasons, I just feel like he might be talking about ages because usually that is how ages are broken down,
Hmm.
right? 2021. So it kind of looks like, oh, you're comparing ages, but meanwhile, you're talking about year over year, like 2021, 2022. So you can just keep that in full so it's not, so that the users can understand. I've seen a lot of these. I don't know why a lot of people are making this same mistake for the average injuries per day. Could just approximate that because you're talking about days, right? And the next thing I would talk about is the info icon, right? I I don't know. Can you help me click that? Okay, yes. So I feel like this should have been somewhere at the top because the rest of the icons are not clickable except from the info icon. So maybe it should have just been at the top so that, or maybe close to the chat title, so it kind of gives the user an understanding that okay, this is what it is, this is what I'm looking at, instead of it being like it looks like an icon to me looks like a static icon. So that's one I would say. Okay, so the second thing I noticed about the report is the parameters, right? I think he used the button because if you click away from the total injuries, no, click away from the total injuries. Yeah, it's like it's blank. So ideally, it's not even meant to show any visuals from what I'm seeing. So maybe he should have just put that on first selection. So we know that okay, we're talking about total injuries, and then I don't know, it moves like that.
Hmm.
Um, okay, what else? Yes, so because of that, I feel like the rest of the chat title wasn't clear. At some point, I was like, okay, by injuries, what are we looking at? Yes, because of the buttons. Yeah. Is there any other thing I want to add to this? This. Okay, so I would say that there were some. Okay, this second, I think the second. Okay, yes. So I would have said that he could have included a data label to this particular visual so that I could easily get an understanding, right? Rather than just going through all of the tooltips to kind of know, okay, what's the value here, what's the value here, what's the value here. So that's something
Hmm.
that he could have added. Yeah, same goes with the other pages too as well. Um, yeah. So yeah,
Why is
and
that? Why have the background in white? The
Yeah,
icon.
I noticed that as well.
Carry on. Sorry.
okay, so I think the one last thing I would add is the pie chart. The pie
Which
chart.
page?
This the
Yep.
I think the third page or so. Yeah, I think the third page. Around the third page or so. Okay, so I noticed that like he used a gradient pie chart. I just felt
Hmm.
like, just my own opinion, he should have just kept it very simple. I mean, all of the other visuals are very plain except from the pie chart. So just a way of keeping everything consistent. Yeah,
Yes.
that's my 2 cents.
We are running a little bit late, but I wanted to ask one question to Shidera about the red color. If somebody gives you a dozen of red roses, is bad or good?
It's good. It's good.
Okay, so it's not all the time red. I know that the argument in that, but depend on the situation, how the color is
Yeah,
used. But
yeah,
I am very careful with red too, Chidera. So I agree with you. At the same time, I have the argument that well, it doesn't mean bad all the time.
yeah.
But yes, I agree with you.
I think
Hello,
at the end of the
Rafa.
day, okay.
Carry on.
Okay, I think at the end of the day, it's just balancing things out, right? So if you're having if you're going to be using a red background, you should be able to balance the icons, the text, and everything so that it doesn't look too
Accessibility.
overwhelming.
You're
Yes,
100% correct. Sometimes the icons I cannot see the black and red. Maybe
yeah,
contrast is a little bit poor.
yeah.
In some occasions, I agree with you too on that. And we are running very late. Avis,
Yep.
go for the winner. Chidera, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, Chidera covered this report fully, so we don't even need to talk about it. But yeah,
Okay.
okay. So quickly hiding this screen, finding the right one so I don't look like a dum dum. Just making sure I got the right one as
Rolling the
well.
drums.
All right, pushing it live. There we go. And the winner for this month's challenge is. Okay, no,
Okay.
no. Hey.
Congratulations. Okay. Once again, I don't know how many times have won. We are running 30 challenges so far, FP20, maybe 18 or 20 with you, and he have won how many? 18?
Yeah,
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
you are not
impressive.
allowed to participate anymore. Okay, sorry. You are
sit down.
banned. Yeah, you are banned. Congratulations, my friend. Well done. Well done.
Congratulations.
Absolutely.
Okay, Pastor. So very
And yeah,
interesting.
we did have one more quick before we sign off. There was one more report that I wanted to quickly mention, and that was from Jason Carl Martin Tupas. And the reason why we wanted to, at least from the ZoomCharts team, to give a quick shout out was because of the creative way on how he utilized the combo chart to create different chart types. And I think it was in this page. If it decides to load in, of course, I know I'm asking for a lot, but like this approach we already saw, but this is essentially using columns within columns, which was also a thing on LinkedIn at one point. But the one interesting thing is, which I really liked, is this approach right here. So for those of you who have played around with the combo chart, you know that by default it's basically just a compilation of series, right? You have values and you define what to do with them. So what he's created is he's created basically a full box and whiskers visual as well, just from the combo visual. And this is one of the reasons why we're telling that there's just hundreds of variations of charts. And as much as it's a simple chart, it can be very sort of advanced as well if you want it to be. So it's one of those tricky parts of any sort of data visualization tool that you have to understand, okay, what are the building blocks and what I can do with them. So we just wanted to give you, Jason, a shout out as well for a very creative approach when creating these.
Yes, we know, Jason, by now. I think we actually, Chidera, you mentioning him to me, not for
Yes.
our prices, so it's
Yeah.
popping up somewhere else.
Yeah,
Uh, so,
Yeah.
so yes,
I know
he
that
know
he's
what he
also
does.
won one of the challenges as well prior. So he's been
Yeah,
here for a while.
I'm gonna make a list of people not allowed to play anymore. They are winning too much.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
We are. We actually are.
Sorry.
we're gonna send the DM like, we love you, man, but enough is enough.
You advance.
All right, guys.
Well,
Thank you so
guys,
much
Yeah.
for joining today. Chideri, thank you for joining. I hope it was interesting and fun for you as
Thank
well.
you for having me. Yeah, it was. It was. It was a very interesting one.
thank
Awesome.
you, Chidera. Avis, our prizes, we are announcing the winners, Chidera and me, for on our side in about 10-15 minutes will be LinkedIn too.
Sounds like a plan.
There you
Well,
go.
thank you for joining, guys,
Guys,
and we'll see you in the next workshop.
thank you. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.